Several years ago, perhaps a few decades, I can't recall, there was a vociferous disagreement between American car drivers and Japanese car makers. There was some sort of malfunction going on inside the cars. Perhaps it was the seatbelt not working properly or something like that. And Americans were complaining that the Japanese were making substandard cars. Not to be outdone on the outrage factor, the Japanese shot back that the problem was not the cars. It was that Americans ate in their cars and got crumbs everywhere, therefore crumbing up the interiors and any moving parts. So basically, the Japanese were saying it was the filthy eating habits of the Americans that were causing the problems. This, of course, angered the Americans because even though it was true, many people did eat in their cars, the Japanese had no right to point out our piggishness. Very soon the argument devolved into Americans sneering that the Japanese couldn't make anything right, and the Japanese sneering back that the Americans wouldn't know quality if it walked up and bit them on the butt, because they're too busy stuffing their faces with food. Well, the huffing and puffing went on for a couple of weeks, and then everybody forgot about it, as they forget about everything. In fact, 2 weeks is a long time to spend on any issue these days. But this was in the days when people actually had more than 2 brain cells. Not much more, mind you, but perhaps a little better focus. Perhaps. And don't bother looking for this article online because you're not going to find it. I already looked for it and came up with bupkis. But I don't have to search for it online, and I don't have to ask Grok or any such repetitive rattle, because I was there and I remember it distinctly. Because really, the Japanese were absolutely correct. Americans sometimes really are pigs in their cars. And even though most of the Japanese cars at the time were these little rinky-dink toys made of Legos, and they certainly didn't take into account the stature of Americans, even the thin ones, the fact is that Americans were being pigs in their cars and the Japanese were not. At least, that's what we were told. I actually really don't know if Japanese people ate in their cars or not. If they did, it was probably not nearly as much as Americans did, because there's no such thing as moderation in America. Oh no. Everything we do has to be absolute excess, bar nothing. Anyway, it was a little embarrassing because it was true. If it weren't true, we wouldn't have been so pissed. We would have just thrown our noses in the air and told them to get back to the drawing board in the car factories, but that's not what we did. Oh, no. We did the typical guilty person thing. Well, I never! How could you say such a thing? We were so indignant. That is, while we weren't shoving food in our mouths. Fast forward to today, and it's a lot more than potato chips or crackers in a car, which is bad enough. Oh no, Americans have gone way further than that. Many Americans are now eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner in their cars. In addition, they also add snacks and dessert. Many snacks and desserts. And don't forget to add in coffee and soda, as well as strangely dyed sugary liquids for the children, who are also incessantly stuffing their face. Oh, I can hear it now. Well, I have a side gig. I have to get to that, so I don't have time. Well, I have 3 jobs. I have a busy lifestyle. I'm busy taking no prisoners at the office and crushing it at the gym, so I really don't care what you think. Yeah, whatever. You keep telling yourself that, babe. Have you ever gone into the car of someone who eats a lot in that car? My God, It's the most disgusting thing in the world. The scent of rancid oils, stale crumbs, dried, half-digested protein mystery fragments, and a general sort of sourness, to name just a few olfactory insults, is absolutely sickening. But here's the thing. These people don't know it. It's like a 2-pack per day smoker who has no idea that the inside of his house smells like a chimney. No idea whatsoever. And of course, if you say anything to them, they'll look at you like you're crazy. And then they'll become highly insulted because they'll be embarrassed. Well, I never. So you can't say anything. You just have to grin and bear it and do your best not to sit on any stray potato chips, or you'll get a big grease spot on your butt. Now, there was a time in history when eating in the street, long before the days of cars, was considered absolutely vulgar and disgusting. An exception might be made for being at a fair or carnival, but other than that, people did not eat meals in the street. Now, in addition to eating in their cars, people eat just walking down the street. They'll shove a sandwich in and bite to the rhythm of their feet. They'll slurp their soup in a classroom. They'll sneak snacks into church. But just 100 or 200 years ago, that would have been seen as the height of rudeness and low class. Of course, no one wanted to be seen as low class, even if they were, so only the absolute dregs of society would eat in the street. And in earlier America, everyone was busy pretending they were someone they weren't, just like Americans do today. I mean, isn't that the American way? Fake it till you make it? So yeah, unless you wanted to be seen as the lowest of the low, you did not eat in the street. So the same thing can be said for cars today. And again, I have to say that the Japanese were absolutely correct in pointing out American piggishness. The problem, of course, is that no matter how piggish they might have been, they were our pigs, damn it. And we are the only ones who get to call them pigs. All right, stop the press. Confession time, confession time. Okay. One time, I figured, screw it, I'm doing it. So I'm taking my first big bite of a hot and disgusting sandwich thingy, and sure enough, right after the first bite, half the sandwich fell on my shirt. I burnt my hand, and the console in my car was a disaster. But the icing on the cake was some jerk was in a car next to me, laughing his butt off at me. If he had been in front of me, looking through his rear view mirror, I swear, I think I would have rammed him. I was that pissed. But he was beside me, and I was just furious that he caught me in such disarray. Okay, so I'm just going to come out and say this now. It's piggish, okay? Knock it off. It's disgusting. And I don't want to hear any excuses. Have some dignity. Respect your cars and your property. Keep them looking good. Respect your clothing so that it doesn't become soiled with kitchen refuse. Respect your body and allow it to rest and eat, even if it's just 10 minutes of sitting and eating. Respect the food and think about the food. Think about the nourishment that it is, or at least that it should be. That greasy chili dog might be okay as an occasional indulgence at a table, but your colon and the rest of your body will thank you for abstaining most of the time and making a better choice. Americans tend to eat mindlessly in their cars, huge amounts, but when they have to sit down, a certain percentage of them will make a much better choice. Yes, some people will always just shovel it in, no matter where they are. But if you're in a car, you're just guaranteed to shovel it in. You know, eating can and should be a holy ritual. It's how you feed yourself, how you stay alive. And the food you consume will eventually govern your thoughts and show up on your physique. And then there'll be no hiding things, will there? I mean, people aren't stupid. If you behave as if you do not care about yourself, as if you do not even like yourself, why should other people? And they'll be able to pick up on things about you instantly, maybe things you don't even know about yourself. Dignity is defined as not only having esteem and respect, but being worthy of that esteem and respect. Dignity is about poise and inherent nobility. So I think this might be the first video in a series of videos I do occasionally on the theme of dignity. Because I think we all deserve better.
Ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba.